Hey guys, this is AgentMindStorm, and today I'm answering a very important question. Should vampires be added to Minecraft? For some background on vampires, vampires are magical entities who usually live forever, inhabiting crypts or other spooky selections. They typically exist along other fantastical beasts like witches, werewolves, and Scooby-Doo. They can sometimes turn into bats, sometimes they have magical powers, but to balance all those powers out, they can't go in sunlight without being burned. Sometimes they can't reproduce, sometimes they can, it's a little foggy. They can usually turn humans into vampires with some method, normally by biting or by giving them some of their blood. Sometimes, however, humans become ghouls instead of vampires, which is sort of like a zombie, but tainted by vampire blood instead of being undead. Sometimes vampires are friendly, sometimes hostile, sometimes they're in an uneasy alliance with humanity. Basically, they're a unique being with fascinating lore and many possible interpretations. Minecraft already has a lot of vampire-related stuff. For example, we have bats, which do absolutely nothing in the game right now, they're just ambient, but they are vampire-related because sometimes vampires can turn into bats. There's also the Halloween mashup pack, which has vampire skins and a giant spooky mansion that definitely looks like a vampire would live there. However, the Halloween mashup pack may not be canon to the Minecraft lore, so I don't think we can exactly count that. Illagers are also kind of like ghouls. They're villagers, tainted in some way to become evil, but we don't really have any explanation of what happened there. So we have all these pieces that seem related, but there's no direct connection between any of them. Yet. If vampires were added to Minecraft, they would bridge the all-important gaps between illagers, bats, and the Halloween mashup pack. So yes, vampires should be added to Minecraft, but how do we know we can trust Mojang to get vampires right? Well, I'm confident they would be able to get into the headspace required to add a blood-sucking parasite into the game because Mojang is already working hard to suck away the lifeblood of players through overpriced emotes and expensive buggy servers. So that's a start. That's not enough to be sure they'd do a good job, though. So what are their other credentials? I already mentioned the Halloween mashup as a good example of creating vampiric creatures and structures in Minecraft, but that was made by 4J Studios, who no longer work on any version of Minecraft. But investigating Mojang's other credentials led me to a conclusion I never expected. Quite simply, vampires would be a perfect addition to Minecraft, and Mojang are perfectly suited to do it because Mojang is run by vampires. Immediately, I hear your protests. How can you say that? Many developers have Twitter accounts, they've appeared on live streams, they've spoken at conventions, they're not pale, they're not living forever, they have to sleep, they have to eat like us, they don't drink blood, how could you say that? Fool. What evidence do we have of Mojang being vampires? Exhibit A. Minecraft Earth. Minecraft Earth was a phone game created by Mojang about going around the world, conquering dungeons, and opening loot boxes. Why would Mojang, creator of Minecraft, make a video game for gamers who hate leaving the house? They should know that the only games that would ever succeed with that model are baby games like Pokemon. Babies leave the house. Real gamers don't. Clearly this game wasn't going to be a monetary success because of that fact. So what other reason could Mojang have to create Minecraft Earth? I don't believe that they would misjudge their community so heavily. As we established before, vampires cannot go outside in daylight without getting burned. But I imagine vampires do still want to see the world. So, Minecraft Earth allowed the vampires behind Mojang to experience the real world during the daytime through the footage of players' cameras. The app was discontinued and will quietly shut down in June, not because it was unsuccessful, but because the camera stream of video was discovered by anonymous hackers and Mojang was notified that unless they took down Minecraft Earth, they would be reported to the government for violating users' privacy. Exhibit B. Update schedules. Minecraft only receives new feature updates a few times every year. However, when new features are added, they come in quick bursts almost every week. How is this possible? Obviously, Mojang isn't working on the game for most of the year, so what are they doing? Well, their vampiric nature would force them to go into deep sleeping states that they cannot be awoken from for long intervals at a time, similar to hibernation. And I know what you're thinking. Vampires don't hibernate, AgentMindStorm, that's bears. But I found this forum post on Quora that says in vampire novels by Anne Rice, vampires sometimes sleep for hundreds of years at a time. Here's the link in case you want to check it. It's in the description. I did my research. Between snapshot periods, Mojang's employees are hibernating in their coffins, or something, I don't know. When they're awake, they don't need to sleep, because they're vampires, obviously, so they work quickly to add new features every week until the update is complete and they are forced to return to their slumber. Exhibit C. 4J Studios. What about Legacy Console Edition? I hear you complaining. Are you accusing 4J Studios of being vampires too? No! Of course not! If we look at all the ways Legacy Console Edition differed from Bedrock and Java editions, they are not following these same vampiric patterns. For starters, they added mini-games. Let's lay out all this information to see how it connects. Minecraft, Mojang, and Microsoft are the most important to us here, so we'll make them into a right triangle. The base is Mojang. They were the beginning, the creators. Without them, Minecraft wouldn't exist at all, and Microsoft wouldn't have ever gotten involved. The hypotenuse is Minecraft, as it's supported by both Mojang and Microsoft together. The other side is Microsoft. They hold up Minecraft and support it monetarily, but they aren't as involved as Mojang, so they'll be smaller. I'll label the points like this. So Minecraft is line MC, Mojang is line MJ, and Microsoft is line CJ, as in Steve Jobs, the founder of Microsoft. The Minecraft marketplace holds up this triangle. Without it, Mojang might not be able to justify its continued development of the game to Microsoft, so it will hold up the core triangle. It's longer than the base of the triangle because the marketplace supports more people than just Mojang, as it also supports official partners. The extra length also makes it look more like a menu button like the marketplace is. See that space between the Microsoft line and the marketplace button? That space forms the shape of the Xbox Series X, Microsoft's next-generation console. This console came after the Xbox One, which connects, get it, the console lineage line to the Xbox 360. One of the Xbox 360's best-selling titles was Minecraft Xbox 360 Edition, so the console is connected directly to the success of 4J Studios. This is one of our 3 key pieces of evidence showing Mojang is run by vampires. Let's label the key points across these new additions, then figure out how the other 2 exhibits fit into this visual. First off, Minecraft Earth. Minecraft Earth can be easily represented by a circle. Since the game was heavily monetized with both microtransactions and loot boxes, we can say it connects to the monetization of Minecraft, which is mostly through the marketplace. Attaching the circle around this point lets us see that half the purpose of Minecraft Earth was making money. But remember, the game was doomed in that respect from the start, as we went over earlier. The other half of Minecraft Earth's purpose will soon be clear on this visualization. Finally, update scheduling. How do we represent a schedule with a single drawing? Let's clear the board to do this. For starters, we can represent a schedule by drawing out a week as it appears on a calendar. Unfortunately, calendars are blasphemous, as they do not account for the Sabbath, the day when no one should be working. Therefore, we must strike one day off this 7-box drawing to restore the week to its true 6-day form. Weekends are special, however. On a weekend, we have the potential to do much more than on other days, but they feel much shorter to us. To show how they feel shorter, these days will be triangles instead of squares. To show how one can accomplish more on a weekend than a normal day, we will stretch the triangles down vertically and drop altitudes through them. How long should the altitude be, though? We'll say that a normal weekday has a potential productivity level of 1 for our baseline. That is represented by the height. So the length of the altitude of the triangle should be multiplied by 3 halves because there are 3 Minecraft games currently being developed, Java, Bedrock, and Dungeons, spread across 2 main development teams, Mojang Studios and Double 11, who help with Dungeons. We'll multiply that 3 halves by the square root of 7 because it sure is a radical choice by calendar companies to show weeks as having 7 days, suggesting the Sabbath could be used for scheduling without incurring the wrath of Cthulhu. So the altitude of the weekend's triangle is 3 square root of 7 over 2 times longer than the typical height of a day. The final touch for this schedule is to duplicate it vertically, because you can always see the week stretching on and on and on in your future, nothing more than reflections of the week you're already participating in. And what do you notice about this calendar? That's right, it looks exactly like vampire teeth. But where, oh, where could we possibly connect vampire teeth to this visualization? Well, we know Minecraft Earth is secretly aiding the vampire's ability to see the outside world during the day, so it should intersect the circle of Minecraft Earth at least. The marketplace also wants to suck away all my money just like vampires, so beneath the marketplace intersecting the Minecraft Earth circle it goes. There are a few things we can conclude from this visualization. 1. 4J Studios is absolutely not related to the vampiric plot. They're too far removed from Minecraft Earth, the vampiric calendar, and Mojang to have any part of it. 2. Minecraft Earth was an essential part of the week. It covers parts of both Friday and Saturday on this visualization. 3. Microsoft really needs to be more creative with its console designs. It's now exceptionally clear to me with this evidence arranged in a visual format that Mojang are vampires, but some may still not believe it. And to those people, there's only one way to irrefutably prove something. And that's geometrically. What we need to prove is that Mojang, represented by line MJ, is the same, or congruent, to the line VA, which represents vampires as it's the length of the outside of their teeth from base to tip. Here's what we know from the outset. Triangles VAP and SK coin are the same, because each day of the weekend is equal. Lines PS and MJ are equal because Mojang works during the week. Line SW is equal to line U coin because the weeks are reflections of each other. S is the center of circle E because it's the center. G is the midpoint of line PS because the days of the week are equal, same for point R being the midpoint of line GS. K is the midpoint of lines SW and U coin because that's where they intersect and are equal. Angle AIP is a right angle because we created it as an altitude, and line IA is 3 radical 7 over 2 times longer than line S epsilon because the amount of potential productivity on a weekday compared to the weekend is 1 to 3 radical 7 over 2. If you don't remember or haven't ever taken geometry, you may be very lost to this part of the video, but don't worry, I'll go through it line by line so you understand what each part of it does. Except I won't explain the start of the proof because these are the givens that I just told you. So we'll start with line PG equals line GS by the midpoint theorem because G perfectly splits line PS, so we know that line PS equals those two lines added together by the segment addition postulate. Then line GR equals line RS because of the midpoint theorem, and also line GS is GR plus RS because of the segment addition postulate. Now if we assign line GR the arbitrary value of x, and say that line RS also equals x because line RS equals GR, we can say that line GS equals 2x by the segment addition postulate. Then we can say that line PG also equals 2x because line PG equals line GS, line PS equals 4x by the segment addition postulate, and line MJ equals 4x because line PS is congruent to line MJ. Boom, we have just proven that Mojang is equal to 4x, which doesn't mean anything yet, but you'll have to remember it for later. That was actually the easy part of the proof, believe it or not. Now we're getting into the difficult stuff. So line SK equals line KW because of the midpoint theorem, because K is the midpoint of SW. Same thing goes for the line U coin, where K is the midpoint, so UK equals K coin. Then we can say that angle SK coin is equal to angle WKU, because these are opposite angles. So then we can say that triangles SK coin and WKU are congruent by side angle side. Then line SW equals line SK plus KW by the segment addition postulate. Same for line U coin equals UK plus K coin. And now we're actually going to substitute those two additions into a given value, which was line SW equals line U coin, to get line UK plus line K coin equals line SK plus line KW. Since we know that line UK equals line K coin, we can say that line K coin plus line K coin equals line SK plus line SK because SK equals KW. Now if we simplify that by dividing by 2, we can get line K coin equals line SK. So we have just shown that the two sides of this triangle are the same length, so triangle SK coin is an isosceles triangle by the definition of isosceles, which means that angle KS coin is congruent to angle K coin S by the definition of an isosceles triangle. Now we can say that line S coin, the base of the isosceles triangle SK coin, is equal to line RS because of the definition of a circle where the length of the radius is equal at all angles. Then we can say that line S coin equals X because line RS also equals X. Then we can say that line S coin equals line VP because corresponding parts of congruent triangles are congruent, or CPCTC for short, which means that line VP equals X because line S coin equals X because line RS equals X. Then angle AVP is equal to angle KS coin because of CPCTC, and also angle APV is congruent to angle K coin S by the same property. Then we can say that angle APV is congruent to angle AVP by substituting those into the previous statement of congruence. Here we're going to shift gears a little bit and say that angle AIP plus angle AIV is 180 because they are supplementary angles by the supplement postulate. Now we've already said that angle AIP is equal to 90, so by basic algebra we can find that angle AIV is also equal to 90 degrees. So since they both equal 90, angle AIV is congruent to angle AIP. Then we can say that line AI equals line IA by the reflexive property. Now that we've proven that angle AVP is congruent to angle APV, angle AIP is congruent to angle AIV, and line IA is congruent to line AI, we can say that triangle AIV is congruent to triangle AIP by angle side. Now we can say that line VI is congruent to line IP by CPCTC, line VP is equal to line VI plus line IP by the segment addition postulate. Then we can substitute in X for line VP because we already said that VP equals X, and we can substitute in VI for IP because we've already said that line VI equals line IP, and then we end up with X equals line VI plus line VI. If we simplify this by dividing by 2, we get 1/2 X equals line VI. Now let's shift gears again. Line S epsilon equals line RS, again by the definition of a circle because it's a radius. Then we can say that line S epsilon equals X because of an equality, because line RS equals X. So now, since in our givens we've said that line IA equals 3 radical 7 over 2 times line SE, and line SE equals X, we can say that line IA equals 3 radical 7 over 2 times X. Here we are, the final stretch. Line VA equals radical line VI squared plus line IA squared by the Pythagorean theorem. And then we substitute in the relative lengths of the lines of 1/2 X for VI and 3 radical 7 over 2X for IA. Then we square them and get radical 1/4 X squared plus 63/4 X squared. Combine those numbers and we get radical 64 over 4 X squared, which can be simplified down to radical 16 X squared, which nicely squares out to 4X. Now we have shown that line VA equals 4X. You know what other line equals 4X? MJ. So we can substitute in line MJ for 4X and get line VA equals line MJ, and then we can say that line VA is congruent to line MJ by the definition of congruence because they are the same relative length. There we are! We have just proven, irrefutably, mathematically, geometrically, that Mojang is run by vampires. You cannot disprove this proof because I did it geometrically. You can actually check my whole proof in the description of this video. It's in image form because formatting is very difficult, especially with pastebin when you're using a bunch of math symbols like congruency. But you can take a look. I fear I may have missed a reflexive property every once again or forgotten to use the definition of congruence instead of equality in a few places. But aside from that, I am confident that everything in this proof is correct. So Mojang is run by vampires. It's proven. And now we can finally come back to that initial question. Should vampires be added to Minecraft? No.